What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Embodied podcast. Today, I wanted to take an exploration of something that I created while we were off from the podcast last year, and that is the Wild Soul Archetypes. If you have not taken the Archetypes quiz, you can go to untameyourself.com/quiz. And in the meantime, let me just give you a little exploration of how they came to be, why they came to be, and what they are. This will be just like a short little overview episode today. And this will be a cool one to return to if you end up being interested in the archetypes and want to explore more deeply what they mean and how they could be something that you work with or refer back to in your life as an energetic resource, as a healing resource, or as a resource for self-liberation. So first, to review what an archetype actually is. In Jungian psychology, an archetype is defined as a primitive mental image inherited from the earliest human ancestors and supposed to be present in the collective unconscious. In the wild soul world, and for the purposes of my work, an archetype is an energetic expression that could be used for healing, self-discovery, growth, and reprogramming old paradigms, habits, and beliefs. And specifically, the wild soul archetypes help people do things like identify the wisdom and the things that have wounded you in the past and help you live more from the wisdom than the wounds. Release old patterns of things like codependency, self-sacrifice, abandonment, overfunctioning, people-pleasing, and perfectionism. Shift away from defining your personal value by how much you can give, nurture, and tend to everyone else, and give some of that personal focus and attention back to yourself if and when you need it. Move towards loving, trusting, and accepting yourself exactly as you are and wherever you are in your life's journey right now. A couple of them really can also help you de-objectify your body, de-pornify your sexuality, and disentangle your sensuality from your sexuality so that you can learn to engage with sex, beauty, and sensuality on your own terms, independent of anyone else's gaze. And as well, they can help you clarify your vision for your life, the type of world you want to live in, and any contributions you're meant to make to collective healing and liberation to make that world a reality. That's kind of like a foundation, a basis for what the archetypes can help you do. And between the archetypes mini course and my archetypes immersion this year, I'm noticing that there's many, many other things that the archetypes can help you do. But that's a good basis and that's a good reference point. So there are three different categories in the Wild Soul archetypes. There are the fierce archetypes, the fierce natured ones, the loving natured ones, and the mystical natured ones. So overall, there are 6 Wild Soul archetypes. And the fierce natured archetypes, we'll dig into them first, are the sovereign queen and the warrior goddess. And so fierce basically means not to be messed with. Unwavering, and they're human. They're not infallible, right? Archetypes are energies we as humans can work with. Their natural strengths, though, make them leaders. And to be a leader in the modern world doesn't require a platform. It doesn't mean you need to run a business or an organization. You don't have to have a fancy title or be a C-level executive or anything like that. There's a real narrative in some industries around people feeling like they're less than if they're not in these roles, if they're not in these positions, if they don't have a platform on social media or things like that. And those are all just options, right? They're not superior paths. And these are also the types of things that so many people set themselves up to be really unhappy by trying to pursue, because either they're not built for it or it's really not something that they want to be doing. It's just something they think they should be doing. So when I talk about leadership in the context of the fierce natured wild soul archetypes, I'm just talking about day-to-day leadership all the way on up to any other kind of organizational or professional leadership that you might be involved in. Because in our own lives, we're leaders, whether we realize it or not. No matter what we do for work, or even if you work, some people don't work and they're still leaders. And here we can acknowledge as well that motherhood and caretaking for anyone can be an additional full-time job to whatever else you might do. And those things involve leadership. They involve making decisions. They involve considering other people, making choices that can impact groups, communities, the greater good. So the fierce natured archetypes value and embody things like freedom, true power, community, integrity, compassion, discernment, knowing what's worth fighting and standing for, knowing what's theirs to do and what's not, and knowing when to take the lead or when to play a support role. They also value the earth, her elements, and all of her children, and boundaries. Which, if you want to listen to other episodes around boundaries, you can go to untameyourself.com/podcast. You can type boundaries into the search bar, and we have several episodes about boundaries. We'll also link up to some of them in the show notes of this episode, which are at untameyourself.com/353. So I'm going to read you the descriptions. When you take the archetypes quiz, you get your results and you will see the descriptions of the archetypes that come up in your test. You'll have numerous archetypes. Some people come, they have like a main one and then others with different percentages. Some people have a couple of ties between different archetypes. Everyone's different. There's no better than worse than. I've had someone once email me. They're like, I had a 4-way tie. I'm all these things. And I'm like, that's actually the point, because part of the function of the archetypes is to show you that you are so multifaceted, and through different phases and seasons of our life, we may need to call on different archetypes, different energies within us to get through and to navigate. Or we might be interested in developing, strengthening a different archetype, or we might be interested, if we have been dominant in one archetype, in exploring what it could be like to try on some of the others. So they're really meant to be an exploratory tool for self-discovery and for embodiment and embracing who you are completely and expressing whatever aspect of yourself any given life circumstance or situation calls for. So I'm going to read you these descriptions and just see what resonates for you or what doesn't resonate for you. The sovereign queen is a beacon of integrity, humility, and mastery. She lets her soul lead, lives from wholeness, and has a magnificent presence that reminds us to honor intuitive guidance and inner knowing. Through spiritual and emotional maturity, she expertly navigates pain, suffering, grief, guilt, shame, and anger. Her wisdom, perception, and mental strength, combined with devotion and determination, help you move through challenges and obstacles with grace. She's more interested in love than perfection, allows herself to be supported, and stays focused on expansion, evolution, and liberation for a more beautiful world. A compassionate leader, she is the one to reach for when you need the capacity to cut through limitations, restrictions, self-sabotage, apathy, boredom, or isolation, and embrace community. She exemplifies harmonious giving and receiving and shows you how to effectively collaborate with others. She is divine prosperity personified, guiding you towards a fulfilling, connected, and meaningful life from the inside out. And just a little asterisk on divine prosperity. Divine prosperity is prosperity that we recognize across all the different ways we can be prosperous. It's not just about financial wealth. The warrior goddess shows us how to transmute our holy rage into powerful, transformative, and revolutionary action. A dedicated agent for change, she teaches you how to use your gifts and talents effectively through practice, skill, and consistency so that you can both stay in the fight and take care of yourself so you don't have to burn out. She is a champion of bold dreams and visions, aligning you with higher good and purpose, always reminding you that you are not here to play a small role in life. She's a bringer of faith, divine order, and fearless thinking. No challenge or conflict is too great for the warrior goddess. Her medicine helps you overcome internal and external battles using weapons of words, energy, prayer, focus, attention, wisdom, and right action. Highly skilled, strategic, and discerning with her energy, she is the embodiment of fierce love, justice, courage, and loyalty. She is victory personified, helping you find the resources and cultivate the strength and capacity you need to succeed in your highest, most passion-filled callings. So next are the mystical natured archetypes. And the mystical ones are oriented towards having a direct connection with God through whatever channels resonate for you. Could be through nature, prayer, devotional practices, movement, contemplation, journaling, service, healing, creating art, beauty, order from chaos, cleaning, organizing, communicating, speaking, or teaching. There's so many ways to be in service to God, whatever version of God resonates for you, as I always remind you. The mystical natured archetypes use their power as sacred servants to spread joy, love, beauty, wonder, healing, enlightenment, and revelation. They value and embody things like healing, truth, liberation, multidimensionality, love, beauty, nature, seasons, cycles, rhythm, paradox, connecting to other realms, be that angels, ascended masters, ancestors, other benevolent guides, the elements, sun, moon, stars, earth, water, fire, air, channeling, faith, surrender, trust, creativity, connecting dots, seeing patterns, weaving and storytelling, the great mysteries, balance, harmony, energy, alchemy, physical, mental, emotional, energetic, spiritual, authority. I'm a little biased. The mystical natured ones are kind of my favorite. But let me read you these descriptions and you can see what resonates for you. The medicine woman sees wisdom in everything. A mystic, an alchemist, a healer, and a shapeshifter. She reminds us of the sacredness in all of life. She helps you to activate your psychic senses, hone your abilities to perceive the truth beyond what is obvious, and harness the power of your sensitivity. Bringer of fierce love and hope, peaker of holy curiosity, piercer of illusions, wielder of humor and levity. She connects you to the part of yourself that need not abide by the rules and restrictions of the physical world. She is the healing medicine that helps you wade through your shadows and deep emotional waters so that you may become cleansed, unstuck, and fearless in your expression of truth. The wisest of healers, she is the embodiment of paradox, multidimensionality, alignment, and a bridger of worlds. She is transformation personified, helping you to trust yourself, tend to life, and communicate in ways that could be understood by those with eyes to see and ears to hear. The sacred creatress connects us to the mystical energy within all of us that reminds us we are in this world, but not of it. She knows that beauty and creativity heal, and she helps you find your voice, express yourself, and hone in on sacred patterns and details untrained eyes and ears often miss. She is the master crafter and connector of signs, symbols, and meaning. A consummate wild dreamer, she is the healing medicine to reach for when you need to step out of your comfort zone, take a risk, access your soul's visions, and allow yourself or your creations to be seen in a new light. A translator of deep feeling, insight, and mystery, she is the embodiment of resourcefulness, artistry, and originality, helping you to bring your passions to life. She is the one who will infuse your path with appreciation for nature, beauty, and sensual delight. She also values and embodies beauty, creativity, artistic expression, healing through art, transmission, truth, combining things, seeing patterns, details, symbolism beyond what is obvious, wild dreaming, originality, improvisation, sensuality, working with shadows and light, courage, and risk taking. She also helps you to see and experience yourself as art and experience art in everything. The third natured archetype in the Wild Soul Archetypes are the loving natured archetypes. These are the Divine Mother and the Erotic Priestess. The loving archetypes are oriented towards love in all things: awareness, knowledge, acceptance, trust, respect, honor, grace, compassion. These archetypes demonstrate unconditional love for self and others. And a big part of that is acceptance. How the loving ones access love is through acceptance, which is the bridge. Acceptance says, I don't have to like this, but I can't move past it, through it, or beyond it if I'm always fighting it, resisting it, or denying it. Acceptance is an act of love. It's not settling, agreement, or tolerance. It's just an energetic shift into neutral so that you could see more clearly and have access to more loving choices. So the loving archetypes are the ultimate nourishment, soul food, heart balm, and masters of self and community care. They value and embody compassion, grace, ease, connection to nature, self, beauty, cycles, seasons, rhythms, agency, autonomy, self-care, community care, trust, intuition, devotion, tending, love, unconditional love, grace, nourishment, play, understanding, listening, receptivity, reciprocity, generosity with self and others when appropriate. So the loving ones are boundaried and they're very discerning, and that's the place their generosity flows from. It's generosity sourced from wisdom. It is not self-sacrificing generosity. So first we have the Divine Mother. The Divine Mother is the mother of all, soothing our hearts, easing our suffering, and reminding us that we are inherently worthy of love, care, and nourishment. She helps you release scarcity and fear while replenishing your faith in peace, inner wisdom, and abundance. She is generosity without sacrifice. She connects you to the purest love and strength so that you can heal from every form of overfunctioning and overextending. She is the healing medicine helping you to release negative self-talk, perfectionism, people-pleasing, and low self-esteem. The kind and devoted mother we all need, she is the embodiment of compassion, gentleness, and unconditional love. She is grace personified, helping you to receive blessings and reciprocate as your heart desires, and creative and energetic capacity allows. Through her, we remember to honor the earth and all of its inhabitants while respecting nature as a wise teacher. And then finally, we have the erotic priestess. And just like I always say when I teach or talk about erotic body movement classes in the Embodied Living Center, erotic is a word that people can have a curious, challenging, triggering, resistant relationship to. And so this is just a reminder before I describe the erotic priestess that eros is a form of love. It's sensual, passionate love. And our culture really over sexualizes that term and really pornifies that term. So this is not just about sex with others. This is not about pleasing or being performing to anyone's gaze, but your own. It's about finding that sensual, passionate love for yourself. And I don't even necessarily mean sexually either. Sensuality and sexuality are two separate and beautiful things that can work together amazingly. But when you especially take the time to get to allow yourself to experience sensuality just for the sake of sensuality without any connection or attachment to sex or other people, there is so much delight and healing and pleasure and joy available in your life. And the erotic priestess is the one to reach for when that's something that you really know you need or really know you want. So the erotic priestess reminds us that the sacred body is our connection to life itself. She is the loving gaze inward, the seer of love in all things, the overflowing cup to drink from when you need to come home to yourself and tend to your deepest needs. Embodiment is her healing medicine, connecting you directly to your soul through practice and devotion. She cannot be gaslit or manipulated and is unwilling to be subservient. She is the gateway for integrating spirituality, sensuality, and sexuality in the holiest of ways so that you may experience the joy, pleasure, and fulfillment of your whole existence. A woman unto herself, she is the embodiment of self-love, guiding you to fortify your healing, progress, and expansion through the lens of reverence, respect, and divine union with the great beloved. She is love personified, helping you to dissolve shame, guilt, and any old ways of self-sacrifice or abandonment. So she helps embody self-love of the highest order. She helps with discernment and divine self-centeredness, the tenderness of having needs. And she's about joy, richness, the pleasure of her own existence, knowing, seeing, feeling, and experiencing yourself as divine, not from a place of ego, but actually with immense and intense humility and reverence for that truth. So that was your little overview of the Wild Soul Archetypes. Again, you can take the quiz at untameyourself.com/quiz. And however it is that your quiz results come up, there's a sequence of emails that come after you take the quiz. I think it's like 4 or 5 emails that will really help you to explore how you personally might want to work with the archetypes. Because as I mentioned up at the beginning, there's a couple different ways to do that. And this episode is going live in the beginning of July. Later this month, we're going to have some extra archetype resources available for you. And over the next few months, I'll do a couple other different types of episodes exploring the archetypes, but I did want to just have this nice short little reference episode that people could use for a little intro to the archetypes or as a little primer whenever they want to tap back in and feel into any meaning or messages from the archetypes. As well, if you want to take a deeper dive with the Wild Soul Archetypes, we also have a mini course, which you can find at untameyourself.com/wild soul archetypes. But we'll put a link to that in the show notes as well, which again, the show notes are at untameyourself.com/353 for this episode. So thank you so much. If you take the quiz, I'm currently on my social media sabbatical for the summer. I always love to take a break from social media, but share it up on Instagram, invite your friends. People love using this quiz in groups. It's almost like a book club. People love to be like, what was your archetype? What was your, they compare, they look at the notes, they talk about them. This is a really fun, I know a lot of my work goes really deep and could be really confronting. And the archetypes are a lighter, more fun way to engage with embodiment in just a different fun way. I've been working with archetypes for so many years. I first discovered them in high school officially when reading the Iliad and the Odyssey, and I've been fascinated with them ever since. So this is a really fun thing that I love to geek out on. And again, we'll do more with the archetypes in the future. But for now, check out the quiz. If you're into the mini course, check out the mini course and shoot us a message and let us know what you think.